Hi guys, welcome to the Lit Life. Welcome to my first sit down video of 2021. I'm so excited to be talking to you guys today. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm like trying my best not to clap in this mic because girl, I'm so happy y'all are back. Y'all are here to see me. And yeah, let's get into it. So today we're going to talk about how I survived graduate school. And I kind of organized this into 7 tips that I think anyone can apply to their pursuit of an advanced degree, of any kind. Before I get started though, I am going to give you guys a little bit of background information. So I graduated from Philander Smith College in Little Rock, Arkansas. And then I moved to upstate New York, Albany, New York. And I graduated with a master's in biomedical science from SUNY Albany, so University at Albany, state of New York. And if I didn't already say, my bachelor's degree is in biology. So I went from biology to biomedical science. And I also moved from an HBCU to a PWI. And what did I do that for? Y'all, I'm telling you, it was on a hope and a prayer that I survived. So the number one way I survived graduate school is faith in God, or my relationship with God. Now, I know that people can take that to mean many different things. I was not really practicing any religious or religious practices. I wasn't going to church every Sunday or Bible study every Wednesday night. I do consider myself a Christian, so I pray to God. And I had to heavily rely on him when I was in graduate school. My mental health was threatened. My physical safety was threatened. Emotionally, I was a wreck. And so I was just being challenged in ways that I never could have really imagined. And the only way I could survive it is just knowing that God is sovereign and knowing that no matter what happens, that he's going to be in charge and he's going to get the final say. And I will prefer to be in God's hands any day before being in my own hands or in human hands at all. So definitely a lot of prayer. I think too, having faith in God represents hope for me. Right? Because having faith in God in the way that I do, there's always something better on the horizon. There's always new mercies every day. And so a lot of times when I wanted to give up, just having the hope and the faith that tomorrow could be so much better. Tomorrow could have a reward or could just move you just a little bit closer. So that was really helpful for me. So again, number one way I survived graduate school, capital God. Okay. The number 2 way I survived graduate school was community. My professors in undergrad would tell us all the time, y'all are minorities, right? Which would just completely go over my head because I've never been a minority before graduate school. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. Everybody's black. I went to an HBCU for college. Everybody was black. And so I didn't really understand why they would warn us or why they would tell us all the time that we were minorities, because as far as my eyes could see, right, which is very limited, everybody I knew in college all looked like me. And so for some strange reason, I thought when I went to graduate school, okay, maybe not everybody's going to look like me, but surely there'll be a good amount. No, ma'am, there was not a good amount. And so obviously SUNY Albany has a huge graduate program, but underneath that umbrella, the biomedical science umbrella is very small. So in my class in 2014, just in the biomedical science department, there may have been 14 of us, maybe 14 of us if I had to guess, right? There were 2 of us that were black. There were only 3 of us out of that group of 14 that were only pursuing a master's degree. And so everybody else I was in class with, they were pursuing PhDs. But there was a lot of segregation in my class. There was segregation between the PhD students versus the master's students. And then there was segregation amongst the black students and the non-black students. Even if somebody else in class was a minority, they treated me like at least they were a better minority than me. But within that group, I did form a community. So I had two friends in biomedical science from my class, and that was Kaylin and Brittany. Kaylin was the other black girl, and Brittany was white, and the three of us, we were the master students. Thank God for both of them. Like, they kind of took me in, so to speak. They were a lot closer to their families, so sometimes I would go like home with Brittany with her family. Sometimes I would go home with Kaylin with her family, obviously because Chicago is a long way away from New York, and I couldn't always go to Chicago for certain things. Also, people who became a part of my community was the lab I ended up working in. And actually, in the sequel to this video, you will learn a lot more about my lab mates. But I had a lab mate, Christy, who sat right behind me in my lab. And she was like phenomenal, amazing, like was with me every step of the way. And she just made me feel more comfortable. Even though Kaylin, Brittany, and I were all in class together, our labs were separate. And so we did not work in the same building or even on the same campus for lab. And so my lab was actually across the river from Brittany and Kaylin. And I believe that was like a 3-story building, right? Top to bottom filled with labs. And I was the only black person in that building that wasn't a janitor. So I was extremely, extremely, extremely lonely. And like I said, Christy was a safe haven for me. There were a number of other people that were like safe havens for me. They were really nice, like really cool people. At the same time, like all my like cultural identity, like our jokes, our slang, and like all that stuff, I really had to kind of like leave that at home because nobody else was gonna get it. Oh, and then the last piece of my community, I'll say, became the people I studied yoga with, which I'll talk about a little bit later in the video. Also, the people at Troy Kitchen. Troy Kitchen is a dope like cafeteria slash performing arts place in Troy, New York. I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. So on one half of the structure, there were different booths of restaurants, maybe about like 4 or 5 different restaurants. And that seafood at Troy Kitchen, they had the best lobster rolls I've ever had in my entire life. I graduated about almost 5 years ago, and yeah, I haven't had a better lobster roll yet. So half of it is like different restaurant booths, and then the other half is like a performance area. And so every Monday night they would have open mic. So of course I went there every single Monday. It was walking distance from my third apartment I lived in when I lived in New York. Okay, number 3, grit. Roll up your sleeves. Refuse to leave empty-handed. Like, tough it out through the storm. Get knocked down 25 times. Get up 25 and a half. I can't even say get up 26, y'all. I was on a hope and a prayer by the end. Get knocked down 25 times. Get up 25 and a half. Like, it was crazy stressful. I even had some unexpected things happen to me where 1 year into my research, I had to literally throw everything away and start over. And if you know anything about a master's degree, it can go pretty quickly. So being a year into my degree, I had started writing my thesis basically, and I had to throw it away and start over. So that was a big deal, and I was devastated. I ended up having multiple projects after that failed, and I basically had to get comfortable failing, and not only get comfortable failing, but learn how to fail forward. So at least, you know, if I fail this time, at least I'm further along than my last failure. And I believe like Marines have this quote that says, get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's literally what I had to do. Like every day I had to wake up and be okay if I accomplished absolutely nothing, and celebrate when I did accomplish something. So grit. You have to be able to have in your mind that you are going to do this no matter what, no matter how long it takes, no matter what it takes. You have to make up in your mind that I am not leaving here empty-handed. That's what I had to do. So if you're going to grad school, you need some grit. Number 4. So the number 4 way I made it through grad school is I gave myself permission to cry whenever I needed to. Yes, you heard me right. I cried a lot in graduate school. And if you know me or my family, you know we are not emotional people at all. Like, only time we cry in my family outside of the babies is at funerals, okay? I didn't grow up in a really emotional or like processing my emotions very well. And honestly, the first year when I would get emotional, I would be ashamed of myself. Even if nobody saw me crying, I would just feel ashamed that I was like being too emotional. Child, I had to get over that because, look, I even sometimes had to go outside and cry in my car on my lunch break because I was just so frustrated. And probably the people in my lab could tell that like I was depressed or something was wrong with me, but I didn't care. I had to make it. So if I had to make it half the day, go outside and cry during lunch, and then come back and make it the other half of the day, that's just what it was. But I was not leaving empty-handed. Number 5 is the gym/yoga. Now, you don't have to work out at the gym and you don't have to do yoga, but I do recommend you do something, some kind of hobby like knitting, riding a bike, putting together puzzles, reading books. You have to do something to decompress. Although if you do research all day, you probably don't want your hobby to be reading something else. So yes, I worked out at the gym during graduate school and on the weekends actually for I can't remember how many weeks, but on the weekends, I actually pursued a RYT 200 certification, which just stands for Registered Yoga Teacher Certification. So I studied yoga for 200 hours and I'm actually a licensed yoga instructor. I figured since yoga was something that I enjoyed at the time and that I was spending a lot of money for the classes anyway, I might as well like get a certification. Like, I don't know. That's just how I am. If I do something for free that I can actually get certified to teach and potentially make money off of, I'm going to get the certification because why not? The number 6 way I survived graduate school was mentorship. Not only having mentors at SUNY Albany, which I had a few very, very good mentors that absolutely helped me through. I also kept in contact with my mentors from undergrad as well, because first of all, they were minorities that received doctorate degrees from PWIs. And so anytime I was facing a challenge, they were like, oh girl, been there, done that, got the scars to prove it. And so that was kind of nice to know, like, okay, what I am going through is not unique to me. I'm not suffering because God or the universe hates me and is out to get me and make me fail. Like, these problems are problems that other people have had before me. So I needed to be able to look to somebody before me and be like, okay, it is possible to survive this. It's possible to make it. Okay, so my number 7 reason I survived graduate school was because of my why. Now, I'll share with you guys, in the beginning, my why was not strong enough to sustain me, which is why I thought about quitting multiple times. Okay, so in the beginning, I thought I wanted to go to medical school, and I kind of changed my mind about medical school when I was in undergrad, but I didn't have a backup plan. And it's like, well, I don't want to go to medical school, but I have a biology degree and now I don't know what to do. And so I was like, well, I guess I'll just go get a master's degree. Yeah, that was real cute. I'll just go get a master's degree. Like I was going grocery shopping. Like it was just gonna be somebody at upstate New York just like handing out degrees. Going to get a master's just so you can have something to do is not going to sustain you for 2 years. It's not going to sustain you when you're depressed, when you're tired, when your grades don't look great. My first semester in grad school, I had 2 B minuses, which if you know anything about graduate school, like you have to have a 3.0 or it's a problem. So like my first semester, I had a 2.7 GPA. Had I not gotten my GPA up to 3.0 or above, I could have gotten kicked out. And so graduate school is not like undergrad. They do not have to give you a chance. They do not have to be patient with you. And you will not get by just getting by. That will not work. And graduate school can be very cutthroat. Like, oh, you're not cutting it, you gotta go. bye-bye. So initially my why was very weak. Like I said, I just needed some way to spend my time. By the end of the program, I had a whole lot of whys. I needed to prove to myself that I can survive this program, that I can make it, that I'm not an idiot, because there were a lot of times where I felt like an idiot. I also had something to prove to other people. There were a lot of people hoping and waiting for me to fail, honestly, and leave empty-handed. And maybe that's not a good enough reason to do anything, just to prove something to somebody else. But this channel is about me being honest, so I'm just being honest. Not only did I have something to prove to myself, I felt like I had something to prove to other people. And then also, eventually my why transformed into what I wanted my future to look like. So, and we can talk about this in another video. Completing my master's degree made me a more competitive hiring candidate. So, and again, I learned this from one of my mentors. I had done an internship my last year in graduate school, an internship that was ill-advised, by the way, and I had to fight to get my committee to allow me to do this internship instead of spending all of my time in the lab. But by this point, it was a non-negotiable. I'm like, no, I'm doing this internship. I need a backup plan. I cannot just keep putting all my eggs in one basket. And so, anyway, I meet another mentor of mine, and I remember a conversation I had with one of them specifically, and I was probably the most vulnerable with her. So if Lisa ever watches this video, she is a huge reason why I finished graduate school. I remember her telling me, if you can just stick it out, right, and finish your degree, you will be a more competitive hire. And my internship was in a field that I could have never imagined working in. And when something about her saying that to me and encouraging me in that way, that this will make me more likely to get a really good full-time job, like that made me excited, and it kind of gave me something to look forward to. And so that also became a part of my why as well. Also, another part of my why was like just my parents. Like, I watched them work 2 or 3 jobs a piece when I was growing up, just to be able to like afford me the opportunity to go to college, right? And then afford me the opportunity to like go to graduate school and have them help me out from time to time when I needed it. So I also couldn't leave empty-handed, because I felt like it would have been a slap in the face to my parents. And I know parents are parents, right? They'll love us anyway, and they'll be proud of us anyway. But I just couldn't do that. I'm like, you know what? If I'm not dead, I can keep trying, which is kind of my mentality. And I know that's extreme, but like, I kind of have that mentality about a lot of things. A lot of times in life when it looks like I should be down and I should be quitting and I should be like out for the count, I'm like, you know what? I'm not dead, so I could keep trying. And so hopefully that's not morbid, because I'm gonna encourage everyone watching this video that's either in graduate school or going to graduate school, or even if it's not even education related, you could just be like in some unfortunate circumstance or living in an undesirable situation. Listen to me. If you are not dead, you can keep trying. Every single day you wake up, which I think I said in the beginning of this video, is a new mercy, is a new opportunity. And if you keep on trying, eventually something will catch, you will get it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Eventually, I think I need to make an email for my YouTube page, because I would like to have people write me questions about certain things. So I'm going to get on that. I'm going to make an email where you can have that students that you know write me questions about graduate school, how I paid for it, how I found the program that I decided to apply for, and all of that jazz. So yes, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell below so you always know when I post a video. Also, share this video with people that you know. I'll be interested to see how you guys respond to this. I'll be doing a part 2 to this video. It's called The Things They Don't Tell You about going to graduate school. And that's going to be specifically the things they don't tell you about going from an HBCU to a PWI. Because like if I didn't say so already, it was definitely a rude awakening.